I went to an AMC, and as I'm in the theater watching this movie, right, that we're reviewing, um, this woman comes up to me, this usher, and she goes, "Hey, a number of people came to me." She said this, "A number of people have come to me because you're on your phone." And Ruben, I'm like, I'm not kidding you. I'm away from everybody else. First off, I did that on purpose because I said, well, what if I did get on my phone and I like to take notes because we're
Oh,
reviewing this
you're
film.
you're you're one of those that gets on your phone. Okay, go on.
Well, I'm taking notes for the film. This to be fair. And I also made sure I was away from the crowd, and I was. And
Okay.
I didn't do it the whole time. I just a couple notes.
Got it.
Okay, I put it down. So she comes and tells me a number of people. And I said, "Oh, did you see me go on my phone?" She goes, "No." And then I thought about the film, like you make accusations without even knowing. And then she says a number of people. I go, well, that was kind of a, but I didn't want to make her feel bad. She's just doing her job. And I
Yeah.
said, okay. I said, you should take a look at this film. This is a really good film. That's what I told her because it kind of reminded me of what was going in a way going on that
Yeah,
you
but
make
Jake,
accusations you don't know at all. You
Jake.
think it.
Yeah, but she's
I
doing
was just
her
like that woman, Ruben.
job. Didn't you work at the movie theater once?
I did, but let's come on. A number of people went to her. There's only four people, and then you know what I did after the end of the film? I look at those four people, Ruben. I say, come on. No, I
You don't
just looked
want
at
to
them.
know
I go,
who's. You
why
don't
don't
want
you
to
come
know
up
who.
to me and tell me?
You should have told me this story because you don't want to know whose side I'm on this one.
I
Big
know
time.
you love me, and I know you're be on my
I
side.
love people who are making minimum wage,
Oh boy,
who have to answer to
I
the
wasn't mean
public
to her.
and has to go from one. You should watch this film. That is
I
no,
did,
that's not.
but
That's
Ruben, I
not.
asked her, "Did you see me go on my phone?" She
I
said no.
know, but
Several
I
people went to her. Four people in the theater. Several people? I don't think
you'll
so.
you'll never you'll never.
One
I'm not
Karen
saying
went to her.
I'm not saying anything, but you'll never. I know you won't back down from your position, but
Guten Tag, Tag, guten Tag, guten Tag. Hat aber nichts mit Magie zu tun, sondern mit Mathematik.
Hey there, welcome back. It's Pod and Deliver. Tonight we have a film, 2023 film actually, just and also nominated for an Academy Award, titled Teacher's Lounge, starring the actress's name is I hope I pronounce it right, Lonnie Benesch. She plays Carla Nowak, our teacher, or Miss Nowak in the film. And Ruben, this is a German film, so it's subtitled. I went late at night one night. It was like four or five people in the theater, and I was taking notes and so forth. And you know what, Ruben, this is an interesting film because it takes place at a school. I'm going to say, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like fifth, sixth graders in that age bracket. And this is a teacher who teaches math. And she is, and right away you find out that there's been some problems with theft. And right away, in the opening scenes, you see the school trying to figure out how are we going to deal with this, and they decide to go to her classroom. I'm sure they went to all the classrooms to go ahead and see, look at the kids' wallets. They asked them, "Hey, we want to see your wallets," and I guess they didn't have to because they said, "Oh, you don't have to do it," but it looks, why not? And the kids put their wallets on the desk. There are a few kids who leave. I'm not sure exactly why that happened, but they look into it and then they find a kid who has a lot of money and they kind of make a little assumption that, well, maybe this kid took the money because there's money being taken out of the teacher's lounge. And there's two or three people who are upset about it, obviously. And so that's where kind of the beginning of the film. And then you start, this one teacher decides, hey, I'm gonna record the teacher Carla Nowak, the star of the film. She decides to videotape her jacket in the lounge, and then she comes back and she sees that someone did take,
determine.
yeah,
Yeah, to determine
to
who
determine
is.
who actually was stealing. Because she was, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Ruben. I think she was frustrated that the admin team came in to disrupt her class and to try to find the thief with the kids. This is a teacher's lounge, and kids usually don't go in teacher's lounge. But and the way they made the kids feel was, I don't know, made them feel like they were really guilty. And the kid who had the money, who had a lot of money, he just had a lot of money. And I think he wanted to buy a computer game, whatever. But so she was thinking, well, I don't know for sure, but just by her behavior, you assume she was not too excited about that would happen in her classroom. So she videotapes these her jacket in the lounge, seeing if she could find somebody who comes and steals her money. And sure enough, somebody does steal her money, some of her money. But you can't really get a good look at the person. It's just their blouse. and she goes by that, and she finds out right away who has that blouse. But that's when it begins, and the film takes you into this whole spiral of just problems of how they dealt with it, and it just escalates, where the kids get involved. There's a woman who's blamed for this theft that has a child who goes to that school, and this child will do anything to back up the mother because the child doesn't know exactly all the circumstances, what exactly happened. And so Ruben, I was just I enjoyed the film. I thought it was so. I do recommend the film. I think I think the purpose of the film was to say, hey, sometimes I don't think it was a good idea. I know it wasn't a good idea to videotape because now you have these issues that come up. You'd have to get permission, and they bring that up in the film. But I think because she did that, it caused a lot of craziness. I think she had a good heart. I think she was meaning well. She wanted to get to the bottom of the theft, but it really hurt a lot of lives.
I feel a bit differently
Tell me.
about her than you do, but I will just say at the outset that I can't think of another film that I have ever seen. Now, we've seen a lot of movies the last couple of years, 3 years now, I guess it's been, about teaching. I can't think of a better teaching film, at least in the sense of this
Wow.
writer knows teaching. I guess I could say Abbott Elementary is up there, but
Yeah.
it was more of a satire, but they got what it was like to be a teacher. This was a teacher. So Leonie Benish, she's been around the world in 80 days. I can't, and a few other things. The Butcher, she had a movie a few years ago called The Butcher Shop, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But her performance, we can say, is fantastic. But I want to say, I guess I'm jumping into the idea of what kind of, how does it speak about teaching? It says a lot of things.
Yeah.
First of all, theft is real. The issue of theft has come up so many times. I'm surprised we haven't talked about it on this channel, because
It's
when
true.
something goes missing in a class, depending on what it is, I mean, but often it's a big priced item, especially to a student, like a phone or an iPad or a video game, not a video game, a video player or something, the whole console. It is devastating. It can devastate a classroom. And the way she goes about it, I do not agree. Okay, she's well, some of these German films, you're going to get a complex portrayal, a complex film. She is a great teacher. Let's get that out of the way. And before I forget, this is one of the reasons why I say it's so real to teaching. We talked about, I can go on about this film, and I don't want to go too long. We talk about the issue of how children are portrayed in films. A lot of times American movies get it wrong, but European films get it right. You almost take it for granted. Look at those. Remember those children? How different and unique they were?
Oh, yeah.
Not just on the complexion, right? The idea of, yes, you had, Persian students or, some type of Arab,
Middle Eastern
of thing. But you had the personalities that were unique and how they talked, and just that alone made it real.
Just how they back each other up too. It's real.
At times they backed each other up, and they were intelligent. A lot of like a maybe an inexperienced director would have made them slow, and they didn't understand, or these kids knew. That boy defended his mother, and I don't want to give it away, and I don't want to say anything, but boy, do I respect that child. No matter who did what, he was going to defend his mother, and he knew something was wrong, and they kept keeping him in the dark. No, he wanted to know. Now back to her. The moment where where she wanted to keep she wanted to bring organization back to the class. She did shave and a haircut.
Right.
And then they would follow. It's one of the things that we do as teachers when we want to get the class back in session.
Right.
Maybe they're disorganized, they're talking to each other. I used to do something like 1, 2, by 3, and then you program, I hate to use the word program, but you program them
Yeah.
to hear a certain cue where they know, oops, if we don't fall in line, we're in trouble. And I take the time to explain that because as I'm watching this, I'm feeling I'm back in class and I'm really watching not only a teacher, but an effective teacher. Now back to what she did. She was wrong by being on top of this. Now let me ask you, Jake, if you
But before you go on though, do you remember in the film though, eventually the kids, I think they're trying to get her goat. They basically felt like the way she does to get the kids going, they said, oh, that's like first grader. That's what you do for first graders. I think they were trying to just get her, of course, get her goat. And she goes, oh,
well, they were wrong.
they were. But that's why we don't take things personally. And we've talked about that before.
I know, but
Yeah,
my
she
point
did a
is
great job by just ignoring it.
She's an effective teacher.
For sure.
However, my question to you, if you find that teachers are stealing, maybe teacher, maybe staff is stealing from the teacher's lounge money from your jacket, what are you going to do? Let me ask you, I mean, I'm crazy. What are you doing?
Now, if it's staff,
Besides telling appropriate admins, what's your next move?
I know her move was to videotape.
No, what's your next move? What are you doing?
My move isn't that though. My move isn't that.
I know.
I know what I would do. I would just not sit there anymore. I would not put valuables. I would just not do that.
Leave your jacket in your classroom.
Yes. I didn't understand why they all want to congregate.
Put your
I guess
wallet in your pocket.
Yeah.
Leave your purse in a locked place. She videoed and she kept on. It's like this old expression: if you don't like the hole you're in, stop digging. She kept digging. No, she was wrong. I mean,
Was it a European thing though, Ruben? I thought maybe it was a European thing that they felt like hey, that's honor. Don't be stealing or don't be, it's like I thought, well, just go put your stuff away. It doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna give you a quote, okay? It's not she sits down and talks to her student, the son of the accused, and he says, what a champion this kid is. He says, I have money, I will give you out of my savings. And her response is, it's not about the money. It's not about the money, then drop the charge.
Yeah.
No, it is about the money. So if it's not about the money, then it's about the humiliation. I'm sorry. This is this is something that people will disagree with me on probably.
Okay.
And maybe I don't know how you feel, but there's a bigger thing at stake here, and that is her class. And if she's going to lose her class, because we start to see it, and this
true.
It becomes a menace. Now, again, why I say this is true to life, true to class, is there's something about a kid who starts to become a growing problem and it becomes a menace that threatens you. It could bring a lot of anxiety, even though he's so small. This felt real. And
I that was scary. I thought he scared me after a while. I go, what's this kid gonna do? Because he loved his mother, and she was, she was accused of this theft. This
is a movie I could watch. Now, I don't say this, even movies I like, I don't like to rewatch movies. I could watch this movie. I could, it's when I walked out, I called my friend. I texted mom. People have to watch this, whether they're teachers or not. What a insight into psychology, into children. And that last scene, it is, if this movie is not a masterpiece, I don't know what is. I'm surprised it wasn't nominated. I know it's best foreign film. And again, why are we even talking about Academy? What are, right?
It was so wonderful. Yeah, like you said, the ending. We don't want to spoil the ending, but just to see what not to do and even with administrators and others. And it's I love it too, Ruben, because you see this dynamic with teachers in the teachers lounge. Sometimes they're snippet with each other. They try to push you to do things that they want you to. it's just like real life. I was like, this is pretty
The
cool.
insight to the psychology of teachers is second to none. Like I'm racking my brain to think this, by the way, in my opinion, this movie deserves the time we're spending on it, because the insight I mentioned to the students, and you just said into the psychology of the teachers, is very real. We don't really see a lot. We get a lot of like one teacher psychology that's great, you know, but what about the others and their relation to each other, and how they bandied about and backing each other up. There's something to that, probably to the detriment of them.
You know what? One thing we didn't mention was the whole race piece. She's
Yes.
Polish, and she tells one of her colleagues when all this is happening, it's getting a little just getting a little ugly. And she tells her colleague who's from Poland as well. I assume, so let's not talk in our language. And there's another scene where the kids are asking her about her background from Poland and so forth. And I'm like, wait a minute. And this is where maybe we don't totally I mean, I don't understand all the German and Polish. I do know they have a history, you know, but
Of course. Well, the
a big history of
a
World War
very
II
big
and so forth.
history.
Yeah, even today they're talking, right? If you're looking in news, there's a big history between. But I just didn't, Ruben. What I'm trying to say is, I just didn't get it until I was watching. And go, man, there's some ugliness towards Polish people, and she's Polish, and she tries to, okay, I'm not gonna speak in my language and so forth, and and they know she's from Poland. They just know it, probably because of her accent and so forth. But there is that piece as well in the film there that really was just so many layers in the film. I think, like you shared, this I can't think of another film to its equal, but it definitely is something that a film that everybody should go watch.
And what I meant by, I can't think of another film, of course, just to reinforce that displays teaching so accurately and students so accurately, and the dynamic between the two, and you feel like you're in a real classroom, and you know, that final shot of this film, it's one of those things that all I could say, all I could think of is one word, and that is inspired. It's just inspired. Check it out, everybody. Thank you for watching The Teacher's Lounge and Pod and Deliver. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.